What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Zoe, No Days Off DFS, here to bring you that NBA slate breakdown for. We got a small slate, 6 games on the dock. You guys already know what time it is. If you guys are new here, you haven't done so already, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the content that we're putting out over here, and drop a like on the video if it helps you win some money. Last night was not a bad night at all. We made it into the cash. If you paid attention, watch the video. I know I had to do a second video over the first one that I initially did, but if you're able to watch it and caught the breakdown, then you definitely were able to make some money. Kind of called some of the news how I thought it was going to break down, and it actually went the direction that I thought it was going to go, especially with the Bulls news. Vooch being out, I told you guys if Vooch was out, who was going to be a lock? Andre Drummond. And sure enough, the dude goes out there and has a 2020 game popped off left and right. If you are in the Discord and if you're inside of the Dub Club, then you got the core. And in my core, I went ahead and I faded who was more highly owned, which was Patrick Williams. And instead of going with Patrick Williams, ended up going with Alex Caruso, who had a much better game than him. Granted, Ayo Dosunmu was the better play over both of them, but still, just being able to get a little bit different on that kind of chalk and things like that definitely sets you apart and helps you have a much better lineup than what everyone else is putting out there, and helps catapult you. And then if you pay attention to what I said about the PG, the Harden, and the Kawhi Leonard news, just paying attention, looking at that, hey, I'm going to want to get one of those players right there from the late night game and be able to cash out. And all in all, everything kind of broke our direction. No, it wasn't a takedown. Was able to get into the cash and cashed. And we're back at it once again. 6-game slate. Nice size slate. Definitely some spots that we can go ahead and attack. We, of course, have injury news, players and teams who are going to be shorthanded with some players being out. And once again, we're going to try to take advantage of that and see what we can do on today's slate and hopefully try to get that takedown, hopefully before the end of the year, or at least try to win big and close out the 2023 year with a bang, in all honesty. So going ahead, getting right into it, looking at it, starting with the injury report. And in all honesty, hey, let me know, how did you guys do last night? Is this information actually helping you guys? Who actually stuck out to you guys last night on the slate? I definitely want to interact more with you guys in the comment section. I get a couple of comments from, recurring users, and I definitely do appreciate you guys sticking with me and rolling with me, especially those that followed me from the WNBA season. Cannot wait to get that back, guys. Cannot wait for WNBA to come back. I really do miss it. Not saying the guys are not great to watch, but because, I mean, they are. My Thunder, beautiful win last night against the Timberwolves, but yeah, I do miss the watching the ladies play, and definitely am excited for this upcoming draft and see what next season is going to bring. All right, looking at it, starting with the Philadelphia 76ers, we already know Joel Embiid, the big man himself, he's going to be out for today's slate. Paul Reed should go ahead and slide into the start. Now, I will say I wouldn't be surprised if they decide to shake things up after the way Mo Bamba played. And as you can see, he is the cover photo for today's video. Mo Bamba went out there last game and dominated off the bench, and most of that was due to the fact that, of course, Paul Reed got himself into foul trouble. Now, I can see Paul Reed doing the same thing again here today. I'm going to save that analysis stuff for when I actually get into the breakdown, but definitely want to pay attention to the Philadelphia 76ers starting lineup. That would be very interesting, and we'll go a little bit further deeper into that. Outside of that, Batum is also going to be out, so we do know it's going to be Tyrese Maxey, DeAnthony Melton, Kelly Oubre, Tobias Harris, Paul Reed. That should be the starting lineup, or Mo Bamba out there at that center position. For Orlando, they are on the back end of back-to-back. Jalen Suggs played tremendous last night. Same thing for Anthony Black. Anthony Black freaking killed it at 4-2. I really do wish I had that value right there. But we went with Paulo Banchero, and he crushed it in his own right, especially going up against the Washington Wizards, which they are on the back-to-back again tonight. And you know we are going to attack them again on the slate with Toronto. But Paulo, Wendell Carter Jr. On that minutes limit stuff. But all those guys, boom. And because they are still dealing with injuries themselves. Gary Harris's game time decision for tonight. Joe Ingles' game time decision, and Isaac's game time decision. If those players are going to be out, I definitely think we're going to see a tight rotation for Orlando. So if these players do miss, I will end up having to have some interest in a couple of the bench players over there for the Orlando Magic, and we'll cover that as well. Toronto, they're only without Koloko, really kind of fully healthy over there for Toronto. And then the Wizards, unless something pops up later on in the day, injury news, which the noon injury report has not came out yet, but if something was to pop up and come out, I definitely want to pay attention to that, because that might lead us to some different type of value or something we can get over here on the Washington Wizards side. Going a little bit further over to Milwaukee, Giannis' game time decision, but I do fully expect for him to play here on today's slate. But definitely, of course, once again, pay attention to that, because if he's out, Bobby Portis, Brook Lopez, those guys get a big boost with that. For the Brooklyn Nets, Ben Simmons, we know he's going to be out for a while, but no news really for them. They're on a back-to-back as well. Over here for the Phoenix Suns, they expect to get Yusuf Nurkic back. Bradley Beal's still out with the ankle. They're really hurting for a win, and they're going up against the really great, pretty good playing Houston Rockets, who are going to be, and I expect them to be without Dylan Brooks tonight. He left last night's game game, I want to say in the third quarter, something like that, with an abdominal injury. I wouldn't be surprised if he misses tonight. So we might see a shakeup in the starting lineup. And I definitely think that bodes well for the Phoenix Suns, who they're not going to have to deal with this really great, good defender out there, that wing defender that normally goes on to one of the best plays, which would have been Devin Booker in this case. So we definitely should see a pretty decent Devin Booker game possibly here tonight. The New York Knickerbockers are taking on my OKC Thunder. They're still without, we already know they're going to be without Mitch Robinson for the rest of the season, and then Jericho Sims is going to be out. So Hartenstein should start at center position. And then over here for my Thunder, they have both Josh Giddey and Jalen Williams listed as game time decisions for whatever reason over here on the site, but I haven't seen anything saying that they're going to be limited or out on tonight's slate, so I do fully expect for them to play. Over here for the Cleveland Cavaliers, of course, they're dealing with a plethora of injuries over here for them, but Donovan Mitchell is expected to be back last time that I checked. I know I see a lot of his props and stuff up, so I was going with the assumption that he should be back and playing, but again, we haven't gotten that noon injury report yet, so definitely keep an eye on that. And then over here for the Dallas Mavericks, they have Luka listed as a game time decision. Definitely going to be interested to see if he's going to be in or out. I fully do expect for him to play on the slate. All right, heading over to DraftKings, a site that, we're playing on. We're trying to get that takedown. And if you guys want to try to get a piece of this 100K to first, join me over here on the King. Try to go ahead and stake your shot and try to win it as well. If you don't have an account, check the link down in the description below so you guys can get that deposit match bonus and join me over here. Starting out with the first game that they have listed up here, we have Toronto taking on the Washington Wizards. Like I said, this game specifically, we attacked it already last night when we went and we played a lot of the well, not even a lot, just played a couple of the pieces from the Orlando Magic, which they were in the prime spot. And this is going to be the same thing again over here for Toronto. Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam, Dennis Schroeder, OG Anunoby, even Jakob. All these guys grades out as really great plays over here. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is going to be some type of, like, I'm not going to say fully game stack or something like that, but I definitely could see at least maybe two pieces coming from over here. And of course, it's going to come. I think personally for me, I'll look at ownership as it gets closer to lock, and that's going to come from, the Pascal Siakams, the Scotty Barnes, if I'm going to go in between both of those guys. Right now, Scotty Barnes is grading out as a higher ownership, sitting at 26% is what I'm looking at, and then Siakam at 22. I'll take a little bit of savings I can get right there, but if you truly do want to get really, really different, definitely come down to someone like Jakob, who we know this is a really great matchup. Now, the only thing with Poto is his minutes have been a little funky over the last several games, but this is definitely a spot where we can actually see him be able to pop off and have one of these pretty decent games like what he had going up against the 76ers. I definitely would not mind taking a stab at a Poto. Outside of that, Dennis Schroeder, I know that he's been so up and down over the last several games. Definitely another player that you can go to. We know we can attack the Washington Wizards at the point guard position. And then OG Anunoby, I mean, if he gets hot from three, and definitely I do like one of his props today, which is the 1.5 3 points made for him today. I definitely do feel like he can go out there and knock down 2 threes, no issue, no problem on tonight's slate. So OG, another, I wouldn't mind playing Toronto Raptor pretty much, but of course it's going to come down to Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam. Both of these guys really high usage, really great fantasy point per minute producers whenever they're on. I know Siakam, he's been a little less trustworthy than my boy Scotty Barnes, but Siakam, this matchup grades out very well. And I know we just seen what Paolo just did last night, scoring wise, rebounding, assists, all those things, and those are the same things that Siakam can do. Now Scotty Barnes, he kind of does it at a better clip, much better, especially the scoring. 32 points in his last game against Utah, 14 rebounds, 7 assists, and they still lost that game 119 to 126. So definitely I really do just see this being a spot. I don't know how I get away from playing one of the two big main guys over here for the Raptors on the slate right now. That's kind of how it's looking like for me, as I know it's more likely going to be one of these two big guys. You could definitely come down and get the savings and go with Siakam. I can't stress this enough. Definitely can come down and get the savings with Siakam at the 8K and let everyone go ahead and chase that 8-7 Scotty Barnes. I know that he's going to go out there. He's going to have a decent game as well, but I do think there might be some merit at least getting one of these two guys. Now, going over here to the Washington Wizards, like I said, they are on a back-to-back. I'm not necessarily fully scared of the Toronto Raptors defense at all in any way, shape, or form. If he's going to go out here and actually have a pretty decent game, Kyle Kuzma, he can. Played 36 minutes last night against Orlando. That's not bad. Had a much better second half than what he did in the first. First time playing against the Toronto Raptors earlier this season, he played 38 minutes and dropped 41 fantasy points. So definitely don't mind him at all in any way, shape, or form. Now, I will say Tyus Jones, though, sitting at 6'6". The dude's been having some pretty decent games over his last several games. And a lot of it His scoring. He's scoring very well. Now this matchup going up against Dennis Schroeder. Again, I'm not scared of that defense at all, especially if he's going to be able to go out here and play make and can knock down the shot like what he's been doing over his last several games. Like I said, in the first matchup going up against him, he played 31 minutes and dropped 26 fantasy points. So really don't mind or hate taking a stab of getting a run back over here from the Tyus Jones on this side. Jordan Poole, I know he plays so a little bit better at home. He dropped 44.5 fantasy points. Has been looking better over his last 3 out of his 5 games. So you can definitely take a stab here. Again, home game, 33 minutes last night, 11 of 20, knocked down 6 out of his 11 threes. So definitely something you can take a stab on, take a chance. And then if you want to, Denny Avdia, I would be remiss if I didn't go ahead and talk about Denny. I had a really bad game last night. No scoring really output from him, only 2 points and 1 of 7 from the field. If he could bounce back on the day, don't mind going ahead and taking a stab at that. But outside of that, not really going to force or anything over here. But Denny would be probably the lowest I would go. If I'm just going to go there, I might as well just go ahead and pay Tyus Jones right there. Now, going over to the Philadelphia 76ers, taking on the Orlando Magic. Like I said, the Magic, they're on a back-to-back, but the 76ers, they're without their main guy. They're without their guy, JoJo, who was, averaging 35 points a game, pretty much. So that's a lot of points they have to, make up for. Tyrese Maxey had a horrible game going up against Miami. Went out there, 12 points. I fully expect Tyrese Maxey to be able to bounce back here. You're going to go up against that Jalen Suggs, that Anthony Black defense. I definitely do feel like he should still be able to bounce back. They're going to need him to. They fully 110% are going to need him to actually do that. So I don't mind taking a GPP stab at him. The matchup grades out as not the greatest just because Orlando Magic are a pretty good defensive team, especially at the guard position. Really, you kind of want to attack them more at that small forward spot. That's really where they're going to be more weaker at. But definitely Tyrese Maxey, don't mind it at all. Now, I definitely could see going ahead and doing the stack like what we did last time. Correction, on Christmas Day, I did a stack of DeAnthony Melton and Kelly Oubre Jr. Just simply because, hey, they're going to get usage bumps, and that's exactly what they did. They went out there, they had really great games. Kelly Oubre, 44.75 fantasy points against Miami. I don't mind him again today, sitting there at 5'7". 5'7". The usage that he has with Joel Embiid out there off the court, and especially if Maxey is to have another bad game, definitely, it's beautiful. Same thing for DeAnthony Melton. Went out there, 15 points, 4 steals, a block. You know this guy, he's out there, he's going to be able to steal the rock, and he plays really hard on defense. On top of that, especially with a rookie in Anthony Black, who can be turnover prone, and same thing with Jalen Suggs, who sometimes just throws the ball for whatever reason and makes some horrible passes. Definitely, I can see some steals being racked up for the Anthony Melton here, and I don't mind either one of these guys as possible plays. They do grade out as really great position and spots for either one of them. Now, of course, like I said, Paul Reed, I fully expect for him to get the start. I wouldn't be surprised if Mo Bamba at least goes out here and plays about 15 to 20 minutes again. Now, do I expect him to go 3 of 3 from the field, 7 of 8 from the field goal range, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals again? No, I don't. But I will say the Magic, they do give up some pretty decent fantasy point production to bench bigs. And that is exactly what Mo Bamba is. And if you don't know, now you know. This is his former team. This is the team that drafted Mo Bamba. So, definitely do not mind going ahead and playing Mo. Really great spot, I think, for a possible, if we want to call it, revenge type game for him. I'm not too sure if he's actually ever played the Magic yet since he's left them or anything like that. I didn't see anything when I was looking through game logs or anything when I was doing my research. So definitely a possible play to go with, but it's cheap. It's cheap, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm very enticed to go ahead and play Mo Bamba over Paul Reed. And I will say, I'm pretty sure his ownership is going to be through the roof. I wouldn't be surprised if he's over, looking at it. He's over 20% for his ownership. Still Paul Reed, he's grading out at about 29-30% ownership on the slate. So definitely don't mind coming down playing Mo Bamba. But I could see myself, again, another team getting at least maybe 2 or so Philadelphia 76ers players, especially on such a small slate. Going here over to the Magic side with them as well. Typical suspects that we want to go with. You got Paolo, pretty decent spot. Don't mind going to him. Jalen Suggs, I know they said minutes limit last night. Let me see. He actually played 29 minutes, so right around his normal minutes, even though it said minutes limit. Came out, started really hot in the game. I don't mind that. I'm not going to go back and chase that Anthony Black game. 4,600 now on today's slate. 33 minutes, 39.5 fantasy points. But look at him. He's a very fluky player. This is definitely GPP play. If you want to chase it, go ahead. But I'm not going to chase that, especially, like I said, tougher matchup, especially with Melton out there, Kelly Oubre, guys that can actually poke the ball, steal, and actually play some pretty solid defense. So I'm not even gonna mess with that. It'll be Paolo and Wagner will be the main 2 guys I would look to right here. And Paolo, of course, grading out as a much better play, more consistent in my eyes in regards to the usage and everything that he has. I definitely don't mind France if you think you can go out here, go 10 of 17, and really get those rebounds and assists again. Don't mind that, but really it's gonna be Paolo over here if I'm taking anything from the Magic. like I said, as well, if Gary Harris, Isaac, and Ingles are out, then we are going to want to look at some of the players off of the bench. And to me, that is going to be, of course, where are you at? Cole Anthony, just because he should get a bump, especially if Gary Harris and Isaac and Ingles are out. I'm not going to say he's going to play mega minutes off the bench, but the usage with that bench unit should be pretty decent for him out there. Or I wouldn't be surprised if they just make sure they have Juan France or Paulo on the court at all times, if that's the way that they want to go instead. And then maybe you could take a stab at a Houston. I know that he played a couple minutes last night, played 12 minutes. He's been in the rotation, so maybe I can see something for Caleb Houston as a punt play or something like that. And if you want to take a stab at Chuma Kiki, if you expect that Gary Harrison and all these other guys out, that's worth a stab, but not a must. I would rather go with Houston at that 3.9 price tag instead. All right, going over to Milwaukee, taking on the Brooklyn Nets. Like I said, I hadn't seen anything on Giannis. Let's go ahead and click this real quick. Giannis had to miss the game since November 15th of the Bucks, still won in Toronto, blah, blah, blah. More minutes could be stored for Bobby Portis. Yeah. So if Giannis was to miss, of course, that's going to boost Bobby Portis. Now, I say this every single time that Giannis misses. Brook Lopez. Any single time Giannis misses, Brook Lopez typically does end up having a really great game. The defensive stats go up for him. He actually can rebound a little bit more, but also his scoring. They tend to get him a couple more shots, especially from the three-point land, and I don't mind that. Claxton hasn't had the best matchup, best history going up against Brook Lopez through his career, so I really don't hate or mind that. Now, if Giannis was to miss, Chris Middleton sitting at 6'4", that's going to be a steal, especially if Giannis misses. He's back, and he's playing his 30-plus minutes a game finally. Off of that, somewhat, I'm not going to say he's off fully of the minutes limit, but he is playing at least 30-plus minutes a game, so really great spot. Don't mind him, especially going up against the Brooklyn Nets, who I am not scared of. Mikal Bridges, I'm not scared of Cam Johnson, I'm not scared of Cam Thomas, I'm not scared of anybody on the Brooklyn Nets, and I really don't think they can hold a candle to the usage and everything that Chris Middleton can actually bring. And like I said, Bobby Portis, if Giannis was to miss, don't hate, don't mind it. But at 5K, I'm not going to really force Bobby into my lines. I will say if they got his rebound prop at like a 7.5 or something like that, I'll go ahead and take it. He's been money for that so far for me for the season, especially since that in-season tournament, and he's been locked in, dialed in. So I really do like that for Bobby. And then if you want to, Dame Lillard at 9K, I kind of don't really see myself getting up to Dame. I'm not going to say it's a bad matchup or anything for him. We've seen opposing point guards, they've done very well. I mean, Cade popped off for 63 fantasy points last night going up against him. Jamal Murray, 57. Brunson, 37. Colin Sexton, 40. Steph Curry, 49. So as you can see, really great numbers and stuff. If Giannis was to miss, you have to go ahead and consider Lillard, but I would rather just take the savings and everything, the bump from Chris Middleton that I can get right here. And plus, it's a much better matchup for him. Going over here to the Brooklyn Nets, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't trust anybody on the Nets with a 10-foot pole. I hate them. I don't like them. Anything of the sort. Now that my personal bias is out of the window, to tell you the truth, when you're looking at the Nets, Spencer Dinwiddie, Cam Thomas, Mikal Bridges, these are going to be the main guys that you want to look at over here for the Nets. One thing that we do know about the Bucks is they're still shit at guarding perimeter shooters. Prime example, hey, look at Jalen Brunson on Christmas. Destroyed them out there. Was getting whatever he wanted in the mid-range, out there on the outside. Was carving them up left and right. I would expect much of the same. Now, this could be definitely a spot where you can see Cam Thomas pop off, especially if he can get that three-point shot to fall. And if he decides he wants to go out here and be a gunslinger. Really do like that as a GPP play. And then I always shit on him, and I'm going to continue to shit on him. But Spencer Dinwiddie is another player you could possibly go to. Shot 2 of 11 last night, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, and still dropped 26.25 fantasy points in 34 minutes. I'm not going to say he's a bad play, but if you're looking for, or if you land here in this range and you need a guard, or you need a point guard, shooting guard that you can actually put and plug into your line, go ahead and you can probably play Spencer Dinwiddie. Last time he played against the Bucks, 24 minutes, only dropped 11 fantasy points, so keep that in mind. Outside of that, not really too interested in anyone over here on the Brooklyn Nets. New York Knickerbockers taking on my OKC Thunder. Again, still without Mitch Robinson. So this game right here, just looking at it, grades out. Of course, Julius Randle, Isaiah Hartenstein, both of these guys should be in decent spots to actually go out here and have decent games, especially because we do know that you can rebound going up against my Thunder. Depending on how they play, if they're still riding the high, which they shouldn't be, you know, we have that 0-0 mindset whenever we come into a game. I don't mind messing with either one of those guys, Randle or Hartenstein. Either one of these guys, they look like they're pretty decent spots. And then Jalen Brunson. Opposing point guards, they've done pretty decent going up against the Thunder, especially if they can get loose from the 3. They look good. They let Mike Conley look like old Mike Conley from the Memphis Grizzlies last night. He dropped 32 fantasy points, was knocking down his 3-ball, dishing the rock, looked very good. And I don't hate that, don't mind that for Jalen Brunson, who I know goes out here. He takes threes, he hunts for his shots. He has a finesse with getting to the mid-range game and getting to the rim. So I don't hate it, don't mind it. I definitely do like Brunson, and I do think that is going to leave some upside for my boy Chet to actually get some blocks as well, especially between RJ Barrett, Brunson, these players that do like to attack coming into the paint right there. But Brunson, don't mind him. him. And then if you want to take a stab at someone else that possibly could get hot, Dante DiVincenzo, 4.9. I don't hate it, don't mind it, but not a must play at any means necessary. For me, if I'm ranking them, it'll be Brunson, then it'll be Hartenstein, Randall, and then RJ Barrett if I'm taking anything over here from them. Other than that, I'm not going to force any New York Knicks. It's always ugly whenever the Knicks are on the slate, especially because you never know what kind of Brunson you're going to get. You don't know what Randall you're going to get, but that's literally how I'm going to look at it over there from them. Over here from a Thunder, like I said, they're on the back-to-back. Shea, again, let's see. Outside of Luka being the top price play, next up is going to be Shea, especially if Giannis was to miss. Shea, don't hate it, don't mind it. Like I said last night, he finds a way to get there. And sure enough, he did. 59.5 fantasy points. So if you played him last night at the 10-5 again, you didn't do bad by making him your stud. Again, he finds a way to get there. I don't mind him again here. Definitely can take the play, but I don't think he's a must. You don't have to go ahead and play him. If I take anything from over here, it will be Jalen Williams, who, since he came back from his injury, has been playing good. I do like what I'm seeing from Jalen Williams. He's hunting for his shot. He's being aggressive. He's playing some pretty good defense. You're going to draw the Julius Randle matchup, which he drew the Karl-Anthony Towns matchup last night and still played good. So don't hate it, don't mind it. If I do take anything, it will be Jalen Williams over here from them. Now, make sure you get the small forward, power forward Jalen Williams, and not the center Jalen Williams as well, if you're looking over there for the Thunder. Other than that, I'm not going to mess with anything over there unless someone gets ruled out or anything like that for the Thunder. Going over here to the for the Phoenix Suns, like I said, Nurk, he's expected to be back, and this is a pretty good spot going up against the Houston Rockets, going against Şengöt. I don't hate, don't mind it. 7,200, really great spot, especially if he's not on the minutes limit and they're going to actually let him roll and play. I really don't hate that, don't mind that. Now, Kevin Durant, I played him on Christmas. He was my stud. Only dropped 36 fantasy points. I expect a bounce back. They want to win. They need to win a game. So Kevin Durant, I do like him as one of the pay-up options that we can go to on today's slate. And like I said, without Dillon Brooks out there, I do feel like Devin Booker should be able to go out here and have a pretty decent game. Now, I think everyone's going to flock. Let me look at ownership numbers real quick. Everyone is looking at, right now, ownership is favoring Kevin Durant over Devin Booker. So if that's going to be the case coming to lock, and if I end up getting to one of these two players as a possible play, I know they're in different positions, but I know how to finagle and work my lines. I will go with Devin Booker over Kevin Durant if the ownership is going to stay at what I'm looking at right now. If the projected ownership is that, I will go with Devin Booker over Kevin Durant. Like I said, without Dillon Brooks, I do feel like Devin Booker isn't in much prime position spot. And if you watched him, he has the ball in his hands a ton. Even the kick out from KD, whenever you feel like he's getting double, he's not going to be able to get a shot. He'll kick it out D-Book. D-Book, he hasn't had the big go off, yo, hey, this is my game. So I really do like this spot, and I don't hate it, don't mind it. I'm not scared of Fred VanVleet defense. I'm not scared of Jalen Green defense at all. So Devin Booker, definitely a nice, good bounce back spot for him. And then if you want to take a gander, take a chance on my boy Grayson Allen. Like I've always said, and I'll say it again, if they put his fantasy point prop up at 24.5, 20 up to 27.5, I will take the over on that every single time. He just finds a way to get there. Last game, he was their best player. He stuffs the stat sheet. He does get steals and blocks. He looks very good when he's out there, when he's playing. So I really do like that for him as a prop play. I'm not telling you to play him as a play, but I do not mind, and I don't hate it. Going over to the Houston Rockets, looking at them. Again, if Dillon Brooks is going to be out, which quality depth, Tari Eason. Okay, so if they were to start Tari Eason in Freddie V spot, maybe. I'm not going to hate that, don't mind that, but I think that might take a hit more to like Jabari Smith Jr. or something like that. Not too sure how I want to navigate that just yet, looking at it, but without Dillon Brooks being out there, I just think that's more, their defense lacks just a little bit is what I'm going to say. But on the other side, I don't mind looking at Freddie V. Definitely do feel like this could be a spot that we could see a pretty nice, good game from him. He's been playing pretty well. You know, he had those two pop-off games, 71, 63.5 fantasy point games, and then dropped 41 last night going up against the Pacers. Again, really good spot. Nice matchup again, going up against the Phoenix Suns, who pretty much played no defense out there. So Freddie V, especially with no Dillon Brooks, don't hate, don't mind that at all. And if you want to take a stab at Jalen Green, who legit let me down yesterday, 11.25 fantasy points, been a little bit on a slump. Definitely a game where we could actually see him pop off, especially going up against the non-defense playing Phoenix Suns. I definitely don't hate that or mind that. Now, if you believe in Şengöt, that he can go out here and drop another 60-plus fantasy point game, go ahead. don't hate it, don't mind it. We do know that I'm not scared of, nobody should be scared of Nurk defense. So it's definitely a spot where you can go ahead and try to take advantage of it if you want to. But outside of that, it's really just gonna be Freddie V would be the main guy I would consider and look to and probably want to get to. Outside of that, I'm not gonna force or anything of the sort. And then the last game on the slate, before I even get to it, if you guys haven't done so already, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the content I'm putting out over here on the channel. And drop a like on the video if this video is helping you guys out. Talk to me down in the comment section. Who is the stud that you feel like is in the prime spot, really great spot that you feel like you have to go ahead and play on tonight's slate? Very interested to see what you guys think. All right, so coming over here, Garland, Mobley, they're going to be out. If Karis LeVert was to miss and Merrill's going to miss, then we know that the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to be shorthanded once again. Craig Porter Jr., especially if Donovan Mitchell is to miss, 6'5", I'll go ahead and I'll play him, especially with no Karis LeVert, no Merrill, no Garland, Mitchell. You're going to have to play him. He's going to see those guard rotations. He's going to see those minutes. I would just go ahead and take that. And then especially if LeVert is to miss, then I'll go back to my boy Georgia Stang. Definitely another great value play. He's been decent coming off the bench and playing those minutes out there for me. 12.75 fantasy points, 17, 18, 16. I want to say I played him right here within these two games. I didn't play him in the last game going against the Bulls. But definitely don't hate him at all as another play that you could possibly go to. But definitely for sure, Craig Porter Jr. would be the main play right here if Donovan Mitchell and all these other guys were to miss. Now, if they don't miss, I don't mind going with Jared Allen. I know that he doesn't see the greatest uses, boost, and bump, but the dude's been balling. Last game against the Bulls, 35 minutes, he dropped 26.25 fantasy points, and that was because he had 17 rebounds. Going up against the Bulls, not the Bulls, going up against Dallas, who only has Lively, and I'm not going to say Lively's not a great player. He's a pretty good rookie in his own right, but Jared Allen, he's a vet. He should know what he's doing out there. He could definitely get the Rook into foul trouble, possibly get his way to the free throw line. If he knocks him down, that's another question to be asked, but definitely don't mind or hate actually going over there. I'm going over here to the Dallas side. Your guys already know it's Luka, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, A, B, C, D, E, F, G option. So definitely can go ahead and play and take him if you want to mess with anything over here. Outside of that, I'm not going to force or mess with anything for the Dallas side. It's not a must for any of these players over here. You can mess with a Dante Exum, who has looked very well over his last several games. Last game was kind of a stinker, only 20.5 fantasy points, but other than that, he's been playing pretty decent, especially with the extended run and everything that they've been giving him. So I do not mind messing with Dante Exum. And then if you want to take a stab at Derek Lively, you can. Dropped 35 fantasy points in 32 minutes in the game that he just came back in on Christmas. So another play that you could possibly go to, but not a must. But definitely, if anything, if you can get it to Luka, of course, you already know it's Luka. It's a Luka slate. You already know Luka's going to go out there. He's going to have all the usage, and he's going to drop one of those big mega games. And I'm very sure everyone is going to try to figure out a way to go ahead and fit Luka into your line. But if he's coming grading in at low ownership, definitely worth going ahead and taking him because I do not believe Dallas has. I'm not Dallas. I don't think Cleveland has anybody that can actually stop him. All right, guys, that's going to be it for me. Just looking at it, like I said, I definitely could see myself going ahead with my boy. Going with my boy Mo Bamba as possible my main value play that I'm going to go ahead and try to shove into my line. I'm a sucker for some narratives and just the way that he played last game out. Now the GPP option or the GPP takedown route would be fade the punt centers. Look for a pay up option that's in a really great spot and play that center over the punt guys and punt down somewhere else, maybe at a guard position or something like that. That's how you're going to get different on this slate. Just looking at it, looking at the value that's actually opened up and everything that we actually have. That would be my advice if you're looking to get different. Just the one way to get different. Not saying fade everything else in all the other spots, but center position, that seems to be the spot that we can actually pay down at on today's slate with the Paul Reeds being there, with the Poto, with the Mo Bamba. So if you're actually going to pay up, maybe you put Siakam in that center position, or you go with Şengün or Yusuf Nurkic instead at the center spot. That is how you will get different on today's slate. All right, guys, good luck. Hopefully you guys do cash out. Talk to me down in the comment section. Let me know if you guys got any questions. Peace.